Welcome to English Easy Hub. Join us as we ignite the flames of your English learning journey together.
Please subscribe to watch and embark on your English learning journey. Don't miss out on the exciting content. In this conversation, Andy seeks advice from his teacher on how to speak confidently and effectively while telling stories in English. The teacher provides valuable insights into key aspects of storytelling, including structuring a story, using voice modulation, body language, and emotional expression to engage an audience. Andy also discusses challenges such as pacing, vocabulary, and nervousness, while the teacher offers strategies for overcoming these obstacles. The conversation dives deep into both the technical and emotional sides of storytelling, helping Andy refine his storytelling technique and build confidence in his English-speaking abilities.
Hi, teacher. I'm eager to improve my storytelling skills in English, especially in terms of speaking confidently. Can you share some key techniques that would help?
Absolutely, Andy. The first thing I'd suggest is to focus on structure. A story needs a clear beginning, middle, and end. If you're unsure where to start, just remember, start with a hook to grab attention, build the narrative with tension or curiosity, and then deliver a satisfying conclusion. This structure helps maintain clarity and keeps the audience engaged.
That sounds like solid advice. But sometimes I struggle with maintaining flow. How do I make sure the story doesn't feel like it's all over the place?
Great question. To keep the flow, you need to transition smoothly between parts of the story. One technique is to use linking phrases like "then after that" or "but suddenly." These create natural transitions. Another tip is to connect your ideas with emotions. If you explain how something made you feel, the audience will naturally follow your emotional journey.
I see. So, it's not just about the events, but also how I convey the emotions, right? What about pacing? Sometimes, I feel like I either rush or drag things out.
Yes, exactly. Pacing is key to keeping the audience hooked. A good storyteller varies the pace depending on the tension in the story. If something intense is happening, slow it down, use details, and let the moment build. When there's action or excitement, speed up the pacing. Don't be afraid of pauses either. They create suspense and give the audience time to process what you've said.
I've never thought about using pauses that way. That could definitely help. Now, what about voice modulation? Is that something I should focus on?
Absolutely. Your voice is a powerful tool in storytelling. Modulation, changing your pitch, tone, and volume, adds depth to your narrative. When you reach a dramatic moment, lower your voice to make it feel more intimate or intense. When you're narrating something lively, raise your pitch and use enthusiasm. This variety keeps the audience engaged and helps convey the emotion behind your words.
I feel like I have a lot of things to think about now. What role does body language play in telling a story? Should I pay attention to my movements?
Great observation. Body language is essential in storytelling. Gestures, facial expressions, and posture all communicate feelings and energy. For example, when describing something large or grand, you might widen your arms to give a sense of scale. When something dramatic happens, your face should reflect that. Raise your eyebrows, open your eyes wide, or even pause to show surprise. This physical engagement reinforces the emotional impact of your words.
So, it's not just about what I say, but how I show it through my body. I've noticed that sometimes I get nervous and my words feel stiff. Any advice on overcoming that?
Nervousness is completely normal. The key is to practice relaxation techniques before you speak. Deep breaths, stretching, or even visualizing yourself succeeding can help. Also, try not to focus too much on being perfect. People are more forgiving than you think, especially when you're being authentic. If you're nervous, it's okay to laugh or acknowledge it. It shows your humanity, and people relate to that.
I like that, being authentic. I sometimes worry about forgetting parts of the story. How do I recover if I lose my place mid-sentence?
Everyone forgets parts of their story now, and then, if that happens, don't panic. Take a breath, smile, and either briefly pause to gather your thoughts or simply pick up from where you left off. You can even add humor. Say something like, "I got so excited I almost skipped ahead." This keeps the mood light and reassures your audience.
That's reassuring. I often struggle with vocabulary too. Sometimes I can't think of the right words. Any tips for improving my vocabulary while telling stories?
Expanding your vocabulary comes with practice. Read more stories in English, novels, articles, or even watch movies. When you come across a word that fits your storytelling style, write it down and try to use it in your daily conversations. The key is to choose words that suit the tone of your story, rather than just trying to sound fancy. And don't be afraid to use simpler words if they convey the right meaning clearly.
Reading and watching movies is a good way to learn naturally. Sometimes, I want to make my stories more relatable to different people. How can I ensure my audience connects with the story I'm telling?
Excellent point. To make your story relatable, focus on universal themes: love, loss, friendship, ambition. These are emotions everyone can understand. Use examples that your audience can identify with. Even in personal stories, if you share a struggle or challenge you faced, it's easier for others to empathize. Tailor your language to your audience's level as well. You don't need complicated words if they won't connect with them.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, sometimes I feel like I'm telling the story too much from my own perspective. How can I make my stories feel more dynamic?
To add variety, you can shift perspectives. Try to introduce other characters or viewpoints in your story. For example, instead of just talking about how you felt in a situation, describe how someone else might have felt. This provides layers to your storytelling and lets the audience imagine different points of view. It also adds depth to the narrative.
That sounds really cool. Changing perspectives could make the story richer. What about the length of a story? Should I try to keep it short, or can it be long?
The length depends on your purpose and audience. For a casual story, it's good to keep it relatively short and engaging. However, if you're aiming to captivate your audience for a longer time, like in a podcast or during a live performance, longer stories with more detailed imagery and backstory can work. But always be mindful of keeping the story focused. Too many details might overwhelm the listener.
I'll keep that in mind. I've heard that humor can be a powerful tool in storytelling. How can I incorporate humor without overdoing it?
Humor, when used sparingly, can be a great way to build rapport with your audience. You can introduce humor by exaggerating certain details or using light sarcasm. The key is to be authentic with it. If you're genuinely amused by something, your audience will feel that. Just make sure the humor doesn't overshadow the heart of the story.
I like that, being genuine with humor. Lastly, any advice on dealing with nerves in front of an audience?
Nerves are natural, but remember, they often come from caring about the impact of your story. Channel that energy into enthusiasm. Also, connect with your audience by making eye contact, smiling, and even adjusting your delivery based on their reactions. The more you connect, the less you'll focus on yourself, which can ease your nerves. Just enjoy the process and let the story unfold naturally.
This has been incredibly helpful. I now feel much more confident about telling stories. Thank you so much, teacher.
You're very welcome, Andy. Remember, Storytelling is a skill that improves with practice. Keep experimenting and refining your technique, and you'll see yourself grow more confident over time. Best of luck!
The conversation highlights several core elements essential for telling captivating stories in English. The teacher emphasizes the importance of structure, starting with a hook, maintaining flow, and wrapping up with a strong conclusion. Voice modulation and body language play a crucial role in conveying emotion and keeping the audience engaged. Andy learns that pacing can be adjusted depending on the tone of the story, and that pauses can create suspense. Overcoming nervousness is also addressed, with the teacher advising Andy to focus on authenticity rather than perfection. The conversation also explores practical tips, such as expanding vocabulary through reading and using humor in a relatable, authentic way.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share to keep the English learning journey alive.